Now, we were having just an alignment or some updates in regards to what is taking shape right here in the Republic. And of course, to that extent, I had actually told you earlier that we'll be joined in by two lovely, amazing guest political analysts to help us understand the context on this political space right here in the Republic. I mentioned earlier about the clash on Kithure Kindiki and former DP Rigathi Gachagua. And I also had mentioned about Ruto's engagement in uniting the Republic, and of course to bring a transformative agenda towards every single responsibility of key leaders right here in the Republic. Now, I'd given you a hint on President Ruto, who was appointed former Taita Taveta County Governor Granton Samboja as the non-executive chairperson of the Pyrethrum Processing Company of Kenya. I thought you should know about that. And of course, it says that the appointment was made through a Gazette notice number 6470 under the State Corporation Act. And the exercise of the powers conferred by Section 6, Article 1 and Subarticle A of the State Corporation Act, William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, appoints Granton Samboja. All right, we'll see how that works. Now, welcome. Habari zenu? Good morning. Kosalama, let's start with you. Please introduce yourself.
Good morning, and thank you for having me here. My name is Sarah Kamoche. I'm delighted to be in this studio. I'm a student at KCA University in my 4th year, awaiting for graduation coming November. Thank you very much. I'm a political analyst studying public management and administration, and I'm very passionate and delighted to navigate in the political field, considering that I'm a lady and we have very few women or ladies trying to navigate in this political field, but I'm ready to start that journey. Thank you very much.
Amazing, and we can't wait for the excellence that comes with it. Pia, as we wait for November to, I believe you will come us to your graduation, right?
Will.
Sawa, thank you so much for joining us. Now, please introduce yourself, sir, and tell us what is your thought this morning.
Yeah, good morning, and thanks for having me in your studio today. My name is Ben Ocharo. I'm a previous student at KCA University, whereby I had also a privilege to serve as the school president for that particular campus. That is for the year 2022-2023. And I graduated from there. So right now, I believe, having done a course in Bachelor of Science in Public Administration and Governance, that makes me a political and corporate governance analyst. And today, being here, I've come here as a young leader in the land of Kenya, whereby we want to delve into some of the opportunities in the political world so that we may make a better Kenya and a better universe.
A better universe indeed. Because the two of you mentioned something about a university. Earlier on in the discussions, we were having conversations on the funding model. The students are in pain. What would be your take on that? You know, I believe that in your position, in your former position as the president, you will perhaps embrace this.
Well, according to the university funding model, initially what I've seen, the funding model seems to favor more students who are well financially, yet it puts to the side those who are not financially good.
Indeed.
A good example is, I remember last year there's one of my friends who was joining university, and apparently there was some batch allocations that were being done. There's a way in which they had put them in batches. Batch A, B, let's say there's the first batch, there are those students who are well off. The second batch, there are those students maybe who don't have one parent, and then there are those who are total orphans. But then contrary to that, what we saw is that some students, those joining university, you find somebody who is a total orphan, is placed in the first, in a batch that makes him same batch like somebody, a student who was both parents. So according to my view, I saw that is a bit not fair, but I think it's because of the policies and the matters to do with corruption, that is why such things happen. And I really feel it's high time that the government or the Ministry of Education should review it to make education
Indeed.
equal, as we know that education is an equalizer.
Indeed.
So without education, it is only through education that people are able to sit on the same table, and it should be on the same level,
Indeed.
not that the rich are favored and the poor are.
All right. Let me get her thought on the same, since of course you're in that particular space, and you might know the effect in an immediate angle. What is your view on the new funding model?
Okay, thank you. In the new funding model, for the past 2 years in my academic journey, that funding model was not active. But in my last 2 years, I've come to interaction with the new funding model, whereby you are getting that students, like we are being placed in different categories, as he has said. But you see, I think, in my view, the help that is being given to students, there is no consideration of background of students, because you may find a person like both parents are employed and they are not struggling financially to cater for their academic fees.
Indeed.
But there is a student maybe in the interiors, in the villages, where they are not even able to cater even for their basic needs, like to pay their rent, to find food. And so that's why many comrades, they are suffering. I can remember in my first year, while getting for that help money, it took a lot of time. Why? Because maybe the process, like in the disbursement stage, it took a lot of time. But you see, this fund, in the budgeting, the fund has already been released. But the stage from being released and coming to the students' pocket, that's now where there is struggles. But I think the new funding model, it should consider the duration that it is taking from disbursing the fund from the government and getting to the student. And even the schools themselves, there is the bursaries that they give to students. You find like their location, they don't have any equalization with consideration of the background. Because you find a student is getting about 20,000 and another student is just getting 2,000. But the one getting the 2,000 is the one who deserved the 20,000. So in the funding model, the consideration of the background should be mostly considered.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. But I don't agree with you, the fact that you're a comrade and you suffered. It is, no. All right. Now, upon that, Senator Sigei had pains to defend university funding model as fees spike. Of course, that is Bomet Senator Hilary Sigei used a scattered argument to defend the NALI university funding model, which is projected to hurt more Kenyans as fees increase. The variable scholarship and loan funding launched 2023 was designed to prioritize financial aid for the most vulnerable students while ensuring as fair distribution of resources, which you disagree with that. Then those classified under band 1 qualify for up to 70% government scholarship, while students in bands 4 and 5 receive 40% and 20% respectively. So students have however complained that they have been placed in the wrong bands and cannot afford to clear their varsity fees. That is just but the stake here. And I believe now, as we engage in the pain and the gain, we should have an alignment towards that particular funding. All right, let's shift gears now. We are having this conversation on the Kithure Kindiki and former DP clash. What will be your view on that? Who is at pain right now, even as we speak? Is it that because I left office now I have to speak, or is it this blunder is so painful that I can't keep my mouth shut? What will be your view on that?
I think the clash between Kithure Kindiki and the former deputy president, of which right now they're saying the second deputy president, is really based on what I can say as a youth. I can say that it is based on self-interest.
Indeed.
Because we could see the former deputy president, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, while he was in government, he did not criticize the Ruto government because he was already in the government.
What is the problem with that?
Okay, the problem with that simply means that he is a self-centered man, if I may say, according to my perspective. Simply because while he was there, he was not calling out some of these errors that may be happening. But now, since he's out of the government, that is now the point at which he is calling some reforms.
Maybe you would have been out of the office early. If you could have
maybe if he could have seen such matters, he could have been out of office early enough. But clearly, it is a matter of self-interest. Yeah.
So who is in gain now?
Okay, so basically who is in gain? As of the moment, it is in a larger perspective, the politicians are in gain, while the Kenyans are in pain. Simply because some of these politicians, you see, they are aligning themselves to form their own political parties, and some claim to form political parties that are affiliated to them becoming kingpins from where they come from. That is why you see in Kenya, you see like most political parties, or rather most political leaders tend to be much affiliated. Their influence, they bring the influence from what numbers they bring from their tribe and clansmen. So that solely tells us that they have their own interest at their expense, yet the normal citizens are facing the pains of these leaders, because when we elect some of these leaders, they end up engaging in corruption. I think in Kenya, it is one of the leading countries in corruption, simply because of the leadership. And when somebody is elected, let's say, to become a member of parliament, the first thing, once he gets into that office, he puts aside the promises that he or she was promising the citizens before the elections. But after the elections, they disappear totally. The next time you will see them, it is 1 year to elections. For example, next year, 2026, when the campaign period, that's when you will see them. In the process, for the 4 years, the citizens have been in pain and suffering.
All right. Why do you think former DP is speaking so much and is so much present in the online spaces and so much active in his speeches? Whereas, as he says, that he would have corrected this thing long way ago instead of saying them now. Why do you think at this position is he channeling his space to get to the bottom line of the 2027 general elections? Or rather, what is your view on why the former DP is speaking so much?
Okay, the thing that is happening in the government with DP Rigathi and Kindiki, it's just a reflection of the things that are still happening even in our organizations. Like where you are working, you may point out a mistake, but because you're benefiting from it, you are not ready and willing to speak it out. The same thing happened. I believe the mistakes that Rigathi is pointing out now, they were happening even years back since they started their governance. But now because he is out of office, that's why he is able to speak them out, because it's like he is setting up his colleague now, the president, because they were benefiting from the mistakes in their era. And now he's out, so he's ready to speak them out. In my view, I think it's kind of a revenge to President Ruto because he failed to support him, he set him out in governance. Because in an interview held about a month ago with Rigathi before he launched his party, he said that the roles of a deputy president, he wasn't performing them. He wasn't given the privilege to perform his task. But while in office, we've never heard of a situation where he opened up and said that what I'm supposed to do in office, I'm not doing it. Why didn't he say it? Yet, he was receiving the benefits of being a deputy president, but his task, he wasn't doing it. So in my view...
In that case, do you think that the sitting deputy president also knows the mistakes that are happening, but will tend to just keep quiet because of the sustainability of his office?
Yes, I believe so. DP Kithure Kindiki, since he got to office, I haven't heard of anything he has done so far. So I believe he's still in the same category with Rigathi Gachagua.
Akitoka pia ataanza kusema sema.
But if a situation happens now and then he's out of office, I believe a situation will come whereby he will start pointing out the mistakes that are with President Ruto. So I believe even the mistake is not about the deputy president. I believe the mistakes are coming from the top hierarchy of the president. Yeah.
This clash also brings alarming context in regards to statements. There's what DP Kithure Kindiki said to Gachagua. You can lecture us, kama unataka tukuje moja kwa moja, we'll also do that. How does this statement come to the ears of the mwananchi?
Those statements, they are like common terms in the political field. The way it happens, like after election, the winner, they must bring about a statement which acts like a withdrawal to the loser. So Kindiki's statement, they are like kumkejeli, the former deputy president. So these statements, okay, to the normal citizen, you know, the citizens, they don't have an understanding that these are political terms and they don't take them too serious. So many citizens, they are taking that statement like it's a serious issue and it's making them have hatred. It's a form of creating hatred between the citizen and the former deputy. And Kindiki is in a way trying to, I think he's kind of covering the president to the citizens. Because the citizens, they had that bond with the former deputy governor, the former deputy president, sorry. Mostly people from the Mount Kenya region, they had love to the former deputy president. And so Kindiki's statement, he is trying to withdraw that love from the Mount Kenya people and bringing it back to the president to show that the president has no mistake, but Gachagua is the one who had errors. That's why he was taken out of office.
So when speaking about all these and being taken out of office, we rather understand so many things that are coming in line. And the political figures wanna compare hand in, you know, embracing change towards that particular political space. Do you think it was a good time that Rigathi Gachagua forms his DCP party?
Well, I can say from his side and those political figures affiliated to Rigathi Gachagua, it is good on his side. Because I think what triggered the formation of his new political party, we saw that, we know that in the 2027 presidential race, it might be very tough.
Indeed.
Because of getting somebody who will challenge William Ruto.
You're right.
And we saw that the comeback, the political comeback of Honorable Fred Matiang'i, the Kenya Kwanza government, according to my view, has seen him to be a very strong political figure who might probably gain the attention of Kenyans and win the Kenyan votes in 2027. So in recent news, I saw that the High Court has termed the formation of the 3-judge bench that was led by, I think, Philomena Mwilu to be unlawful. So I think that is a strategy that has been used by the Kenya Kwanza government to clear Rigathi Gachagua to vie for the 2027 elections. And when he gets that opportunity to vie, there will be division of votes because as of now, I think he stands to be the kingpin of the mountain region. And once the votes are divided, then it will be an easy win for the Kenya Kwanza government. So I think on his side, it is a good strategy to form the DCP party, since he has already made a one move ahead, because it seems that when that time comes, he might not get the Kenya Kwanza ticket, and he might not get a ticket to vie for the presidential seat from these other renowned parties. So he decided to form his own party whereby it will be much easier to get a ticket to vie.
All right. So Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has rubbished Rigathi Gachagua was called to boycott musicians who the DP hosted in Karen if they do not make public apologies. So Kindiki said Gachagua has no capacity to call for such actions. Gachagua urged people from Mount Kenya region to keep off those he termed as betrayers. But in a move that is not characteristic of him, Kindiki was not mincing words as he responded to his predecessor, telling him not to lecture people. Is he in the best position to make an alignment, to make change when there's something wrong that is happening in the political space that we, the common men, are watching? Rigathi Gachagua is in a better position to correct it, since he is now the voice that looks like a voice of the opposition.
Well, I can say he's in the position, but as I said earlier, all these politicians are the same. And what Kithure Kindiki is saying, I think Kithure Kindiki, if I may say, in my own opinion, I saw when they were in Muranga as being referred to as the person who says yes sir, yes sir to Ruto. Then that means when they say is a person of yes sir, that means he's being used clearly as a puppet. So, and I believe Kenya is a free state whereby everybody has a freedom to express his or her own idea. And I think Gachagua's part to the musician was not right, was not very wrong. And again, they're just trying to sell their own agendas. That is in my own perspective. Indeed.
Yeah. All right, even as we near to the break, I'd like to hear your view on the state now of opposition. So who's really correcting the government, who's making sure that things are aligned? You know, the Mwananchi might make a voice, but above all, there's that particular leader that has to make a step forward because he has the power to call the press, he has the power to, you know, speak out and you know, with a lot of oomph and power. So who's currently our opposition?
Okay.
Apart from the Mwananchi.
Our opposition to the citizens, you see, for Rigathi Gachagua, the way he has come up with his own DCP party, he has become like he's a celeb to Kenyans. He's at top. And Kenyans, they love, like, the one who is trending, they walk with it. So, like, Kenyans are walking with Gachagua because he's at top. But what they don't know is his agendas are which. At the end of it, what will he accomplish to the Kenyans? So our opposition, it's like President Ruto and his deputy, Kithure Kindiki, are our current opposition. Even though they are in power, we are kind of opposing them because we want them out of that position. Yeah.
This will bring the question on the position of Raila Odinga and the ODM party.
Okay. Currently,
so you want to comment about that?
Raila Odinga, it's like he's silent. I don't know whether he's waiting for the wave of Gachagua and Kindiki to cool and then he can come up. But currently, no great view about Raila Odinga.
All right.
Yeah.
4 days ago, of course, there was also pain as Gloria Oruba ousted as Senate Speaker Kingi declares the seat vacant. As Senate Speaker Amason Kingi gazettes notice announcing that UDA nominated Senator Gloria Oruba's seat is vacant effective May 21st, that is a couple of days ago, 2025. President William Ruto's UDA party expelled Oruba for violating the party's code of conduct. The decision is to remove Senator Oruba as a party member was reached by the party disciplinary committee, which stated that she has violated the constitution of the party. Her tribulations began after attending former Interior Minister Fred Matiang'i's political event. Did you get the point? All right. So we're taking a short break, but when we come back, we'll have now the deeper inroad towards the political space right here in the Republic. And so far, we've at least understood about this pain and the gain. So if there are political parties or leaders that are in the pain, so how will they now have a shift to get the gain that they deserve? So many political leaders in the 2027 coming general elections, looking forward to these spaces. But do you think the pain has been too much so that now let's embrace change and they get these seats and now they have a particular position a standard and sustainable political position. So don't go too far. You're watching The Morning Drift. This is The Big Conversation. Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
Feeling like unwinding and calming your nerves down after a long week? I'm Nika Kala. Join me on the Nakala Report this coming Friday and every Friday at 8 p.m. only on Lookup TV. At Nakala Report, we turn the insanity into sanity and sanity into insanity.
Welcome back. You're watching The Morning Drift, The Big Conversation, and we are trying to understand the political gain and the political pain as far as the political space is concerned. Earlier on, we've just completed a conversation with Kithure Kindiki and the former DP Rigathi Gachagua to understand now why is there major statements that are made and how does it affect the ears of the common Mwananchi. Even as we delve to that, the Mwananchi has been having pain for quite some time, and they so complain about everything that is happening in the government. If there is a mistake that is done, the Mwananchi complains. If there is service not delivered, they complain. If there is high taxation, they complain. And when will these Mwananchi get some sort of accommodation towards the gate? Even as we near the general elections 2027, what should be the position at hand? Now let's get back to the conversation. So we are having this particular gain and the pain thing, and and placing that there's a need for change. As we get to that point, you earlier on had mentioned about the opposition. We feel like it's weak, and the Mwananchi now becomes the bigger voice as the opposition, right? So how do you feel that this pain really affects this Mwananchi? Even if you make statements, even if you go for maandamano, there's still that niche na kuna tatizo. So there's this pain. What do you feel at this point in hand that makes the pain so much greater? Hata kuitibu becomes a problem.
The opposition and the suffering that comes along with the political field.
Mm-hmm.
I believe public participation is a very weak segment in our nation.
Then
we are given public participation at its best. It only comes through during voting. And mostly for the young people, they don't find any essence in voting. Why? They have that belief that even though we vote, it's like the government has already concluded of the leaders it has.
Indeed.
And so the public participation, they don't find essence of doing it. Okay, we've come to a point of even going for maandamano. to bring out our views. But after going for the maandamano, like currently, tuliandamana, but then that story, ilienda hivyo ikaisha. The same thing is happening with the issue of affordable housing. In last month and currently, that story has been at top because people are bringing out their pain, the suffering they are going through. Like the government is talking about the prices, but does it favor the mwananchi? That's why we are suffering. And we are trying to bring out our view, but the government is not placing us into consideration.
Yeah.
That's where we are suffering from.
Do you think that's the disease that is cropping?
I think in Kenya right now there is no opposition. Perhaps if I may say, the person who was in the opposition, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, has now become, let's say, a toothless dog. The reason why I'm saying this is because you could see when the Gen Z demonstration last year with regard to the finance bill, the people, the youth, I can say, because Gen Z are the youth, they demonstrated crying their voice to be heard by the government. But then we saw that some of the greedy political leaders who so claimed to be in the opposition came in and took the advantage of the Gen Z demonstration, and they said, with the government now, let's come to a table and talk out the issues, and then the issues will be sorted. But what we see is contrary. What we saw was contrary. That's when we got the broad-based government, of which people are referring to the bread-based government. Through that, once these leaders go to the table, they divide amongst themselves the various positions that may be available. Once they divide those positions amongst themselves, then the issues are over. The Kenyans remain still in the same problems that they were in.
If there's a problem to that, and there's so much debate in regards to that, and you remember when they aired about the blood parliament, we had so much encounter in regards to the same. So how will the mwananchi make a decision, an appropriate decision, as far as service delivery is concerned, and to make sure that the president and the leaders at hand wanatupeleka vizuri?
So the only way mwananchi can make that is by, first of all, through the vote. Through the vote, because they say that the employers of these leaders are us as citizens. And the only way that they can make that change is by waiting for 2027 and voting for the right leader. I know in Kenya, or in most sub-Saharan countries, there is no proper leader because of corruption has become very rampant in the African countries.
Indeed.
And I can say that most of these politicians are all like devils. But at least if we find a better devil in the 2027 election, who may be able to bring some bit of development. Like I can say, for example, the president of Burkina Faso, a very young man, 36 years of age, is doing a very good work. That is after he came into office, after a coup d'etat that appeared in 2022. And I believe in Kenya as of now, it is the citizens who can make the change by voting. And I urge all youth outside there to make sure that, because we only have 1 year, that they have registered as voters and that they may elect even young leaders. I think we should be at a position to elect young leaders, youthful leaders, because I see some of these, let me say, old leaders. Some of these people who've been in government, who've been in government. I may give a good example of the former governor for Kakamega, Oparanya. He has been serving as the governor for 2 terms. This guy is out of office, and again he has been appointed as the cabinet secretary. Why should that happen? Yet we have so many youth outside here who are very much learned and that can bring change to the various sectors of the Kenyan economy.
Okay. Speaking about leaders, I'd like to ask now, you mentioned something about women empowerment in the spaces of leadership, and then you're taking it huge towards elevating the country to the best positions. You spoke about the Tanzania's president and also embracing that there is a need for the country also to observe how she does her thing, and then let's accommodate such a particular conversation as well. The many leaders, and of course I just mentioned about Gloria Roba, Senator, then in embracing leaders, the women leaders for difference right in the Republic, is that also a particular direction we should take?
We have the part for the gender rules.
Indeed.
But currently, so far, since independence, it hasn't ever come to a completion. Yes, we are trying to work towards that, but we've not fully achieved it. In the past election, we've had some governors who are women, we've had some MPs and MCAs who are ladies.
Indeed.
And we are grateful for that. But my question is, will we ever get to a point where we'll have a lady arise and say, I'm vying for the presidential seat? And if they arise, as the Kenyans, will they be able to shift their mindset and believe that we can have a lady as our president? Because when you check in Tanzania, they have a lady as their president. And you may consider that Tanzania is even performing better than Kenya.
Do you think so?
I think so. So, being a lady as the president, like having the gender of a leader, it isn't a determination of how best performing a country will be.
All right. Now, okay. So I'll ask you a question, of course, later on in the discussion, as well of the women empowerment, and to understand how it comes in handy to make sure that we have a proper collaboration as far as service delivery is concerned. But let's now embrace the conversation on Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traore and what he's really doing in Burkina Faso. And so Kenyans are learning out of this, and they're saying, if this man is so young as this, what if we give now him time to proceed with this? Now he'll be able to make a change for Africa. What will be your take on the same? Should the president of Kenya learn from Traore?
Yeah, I think not only the Kenyan president, but majority of the African presidents. Let me say, but specifically, let me say in this example, let me use an example of President Ruto. He should learn much more from President Traore, from the various achievements he has done. That guy ascended to power through a military coup in 2022, but since then, you could see that the guy has been able to achieve much more. We can see that the GDP for Burkina Faso initially was $18.8 billion. But as of now, he has raised it up to, the GDP has raised up to 22.2. He has developed the farming, the agricultural sector to an extent that he is giving free farm machinery to the farmers in the various Burkina Faso areas, and also measuring on the mining, because we can see that initially there was a clash between him and the United States, simply because we see that most of the African leaders are being used as puppets by the Western states. They come, exploit the minerals, resources, and other products, and they take them there. So I think President William Ruto should emulate the example of Ibrahim Traore in terms of development, because I see he's been able to achieve far much more than what the ancestors of the Burkina Faso state have been able to achieve. And
all right, so if the current president, William Ruto, is to learn from that, what should maybe he grip?
He should, first of all, he should grip to the fact that he should listen to the Kenyans, because the voice of the people matters. Let me take an example of, in Burkina Faso, once he took power, the guy Ibrahim Traore, there were supposed to be elections. But what the citizens of that country said, they don't want to hear anybody speaking about an election. The reason why they say that is simply because the guy is performing much better to an extent that they don't want to hear of any other leader. Unlike in Kenya, whereby youth or rather the general public keeps on calling that we need a change in government, and they are very anxious to wait for the election date. So if he goes by what Ibrahim Traore, the president of Burkina Faso, is doing, I believe Kenya is going to be a great country to live in, whereby even people won't be seeking to. We see people. We saw the Ministry of Foreign Affairs offering jobs in Qatar and Dubai. People won't be at a position to even wish to travel outside Kenya to go and seek for employment.
All right, a good student listens, then embraces change as well.
Exactly.
So we'll get to see the bottom line of that as well, and what's the impact. Of course, in this year 2025, we'll get clear revelation towards the impact that Traore is making and teaching other countries, around Africa. So a little bit about the budget now. Mbadi said the coffee sector, which is now being politicized by some of the leaders, has been allocated 4 billion compared to the previous financial year, which was allocated 3 billion. He mentioned this, and he had a clash too with Sifuna as well. He mentioned that there was no allocation for the promotion of coffee farming, but later on, of course, he told Nyoro to go through proposed 2025, 2026 budget so that he can understand it fully. So the Treasury, of course, that is a clash between, this is Mbadi, then also the clash with Sifuna, and now as a clash with Ndini Nyoro about this particular proposed budget of the 2025 and the 2026. We can't forget about the finance bill 2024, which is still a menace. The Treasury boss said he is going to demonstrate to the MP that he has the capacity to prepare a good budget, adding counties which have never had a single tarmac road are going to get tarmac roads in the coming budget. The CS was speaking at the primary where he attended a fund drive for spiritual churches in the sub-county. As he mentioned about the promising that he will do for the country upon this particular budget, we've had budgets before allocated for particular services and achievements for different areas, but there's still a menace of this productivity. There are services that have not been done yet. As a political analyst, in your view, the budget is here, the budget is set, and it's ready to take action. What happens? They've proposed this budget, it has gone through, the parliament has decided, and everything is working out. What really happens that this budget doesn't function to the best alignment that it was made for?
In my own perspective, a budget may be allocated in the right way, because after going through parliament, it has been approved, the president has signed. But there are two major factors that may maybe make this budget not function, or rather its fruits not to be seen, to be working in the state. The first one is corruption.
All right.
Because we can find that a budget has been drafted, let's say the Minister of Education has been allocated a certain amount of money. Because as of right now, there's something that is trending, that there is no funding to print KCSE examination papers.
Indeed.
Yet that is something that was in the budget, and there are no funds to do that. So probably the first thing is a matter to do with corruption. And when we find these corrupt leaders, money is channeled from the national government up to the county level, but in between you find that there's some intermediaries. One takes, let's say, has been allocated 100 shillings. From the top, they remove 20 shillings. Once it goes to the next step, another 20 shillings, though we are remaining with 60 shillings. Then finally we find that what is remaining is almost 20 shillings. That is in a symbolic view. So I really feel for the budget to work, they have to have a good legal policy and some good frameworks, policy frameworks, and that there should be auditing. When the money has been channeled out, there should be some good auditing of these funds are being utilized, and if they are truly making, or if they are truly doing the work that they are intended to do.
All right.
Yeah, so the second thing I really feel is also about those who are drafting the budget. Sometimes you see the budget is being drafted, but taken to Parliament for approval because the parliamentarians, the member of parliaments are those who worked as the voice of the people.
Indeed.
But then you find a budget has been drafted, taken to Parliament, but these people in Parliament, even if there's something that is not right in that budget, they just decide to pass this particular budget simply because there's someone who is above them, and that if they vote against this person's will, then it's going to be cumbersome for this particular leader. So you find that the hands are tied and they have to vote into this particular budget.
Just
and
say yes.
Pass it. Yeah, and just say yes.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
so speaking about that, we have now the direction that the Mwananchi shall take to make an alignment, right? And when the budget doesn't go well, you know, with the Mwananchi's view, there becomes a problem. Remember also the issue on tax. You know, but unalipo pesa, then the tax that comes with it, it's like you didn't work for it. So what should be the clear direction that the Mwananchi should take to correct the government?
Okay, the Mwananchi, I think whenever a project is being done, we are failing because we are not having an assessment before implementing it. Because in the budgeting, you find that there is a budget of 3 billion towards the coffee sector.
Indeed.
But how are we breaking that budget down? Because you may find that there are some funds allocated for the coffee sector, but you can't tell me that they are taking 1 million to Mombasa County to sort issues about coffee. Right. Yet in Mombasa we don't have coffee. So there should be the consideration of the areas that the budget is being allocated, and a breakdown should be done before that project is being carried out. The issue of SHA, it's affecting the Mwananchi so much, because you find out that you are paying for the SHA, yet when you need those services, you are not able to access it. Yeah.
All right. So the Mwananchi should also be concerned towards these engagements.
They should speak out and tell the government that their projects are not working out. Because some of these services...
because you'll be abducted.
Yeah, sorry.
The problem comes in because you might get abducted.
Oh, the issue of abduction.
Yes, you want to correct the government, you want to say things, but now there's this fear that has been ignited.
There's the fear of bringing out our voice, because our voice doesn't matter so much. And when you bring out your voice, then you suffer. You get abducted. And that's why people are suffering from within. Because even when I speak out, what will the government do?
Indeed.
Yeah.
When you mentioned about stories of health, it's traumatizing. I was looking at the situation where we have these terrible diseases that needs instant help, and the families are not able to afford this, and it becomes harder for them to get propelled. If we speak about SHA not working, I was having an engagement with some doctors and saying at some point it works, but at some point it doesn't. But that is not the case. We need a proper channel to make sure that all in all, lisiwalo liwe, it needs to be in operation, because we're losing so many lives in that aspect. So if you're correcting stories, Zasha, how do our voice matters? Is it because the government should see that people are losing lives, that people are stuck in hospitals, rather than hearing our voice? So how will we channel our voice to make sure that the health sector has an alignment towards benefiting the common man?
The issue of SHA, there was a time there was a lady who spoke out that SHA is not working. Yet someone is in a critical condition, they need assistance, but the doctors, they say that SHA is not working.
Indeed.
And we don't blame the doctors, because they are saying that they can't treat you and your SHA is not working, so they won't benefit from their services, because that SHA is the one to cater for their salaries. And so when I try to speak out that SHA is not working, maybe I go live and tell the government, your projects, they aren't working. I'll just be abducted, and that will be the end. But I think the government should come up with proper ways to engage the public in bringing their views. They can have some surveys, some questionnaires being issued to the public, and they shouldn't just do it for the sake of doing it. They should ensure that it is effective, and at the end of it, an evaluation should be done. How effective is this public participation benefiting the common Mwananchi?
All right. So I want us now to give our last statements. Kiongozi, what will be your take this morning? Because we're starting over the week. And, these are the things that we are embracing over the weekends because it can happen. But now we still need, these are our leaders as well. But we still need an alignment in the coming days. So even as we start the week, what will be your short take this morning?
Even as we start the week, my parting shot this morning to the Kenyans generally is that they should not lose faith despite the many challenges we've been facing in the Kenyan economy. They should not lose hope.
Okay.
They should know that there is hope at the end of the tunnel.
Indeed.
And that come 2027, I know there will be a brighter morning and that we will get a good leader. And the only way we can get a good leader is by making sure that all Kenyans register as voters so that when we come to August 2027, they may get to elect leaders who are promising and who may bring development. And personally, before I say, I'm so much enthusiastic in politics and I'm planning to vie for a member of county assembly. That is from where I come from, Kasarani constituency, Clay City Ward. So for the youth from that place, kindly take your votes so that on that day, we make a brighter morning and bring in good leaders.
All the best, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I wish you all the best. All right, greet some people from KCA very shortly because we're out of time. Then we wind up the session.
Okay, thank you. From KCA University, I first acknowledge our Vice Chancellor, Isaiah Kindiki, and also the Town Campus Forum. And also I can't forget to tag along my fellow comrades, Benjamin, Chelsea, Mary Ann, and Wainaina. I appreciate them very much. And in the leadership, we always start from wherever we are. Our vote matters. So come 2027, let's make sure as the young people, we come out to bring out our votes because they are the one which will add up to bring about the leaders that we want.
All right. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us, and it's a pleasure to have you right here. And we believe for the greater good, you've made sense towards the conversation on the political conversation and the pain and the gain thing. Thank you so much once again for coming. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we've embraced this political conversation, the big conversation, and of course, because now the pain seems greater, tomorrow we'll be having a discussion on the mental health. So stay with us. This is the Morning Drift right here on Look Up Television. Until the engagements now, we'll have a clear end towards elevating the country to the best levels possible. So tomorrow, as we engage towards this conversation, we believe that it's for the betterment of you, Mwananchi. And so thank you so much for my political fellows for making this happen, including my director King Dantimax and the graphics guy Thomas, and I believe of course Sarah is right here to make sure that you have the visual impact as well. So see you tomorrow. My name is Moses Okech.